We're involved in an initiative talking about the issues that affect infants and toddlers. It's actually an initiative called Right from the Start NJ Question. And we've talked to Governor Murphy about this, Lieutenant Governor Shereef right in this studio, she was talking about it. What is the role of the federal government to protect and help infants and toddlers, okay, when it comes to early childhood education, child care? Is that a federal issue?
It is an American issue. And what other countries are doing right now, casting a shadow on us,
Are they ahead of us?
Way ahead.
How?
Well, remember, in a global knowledge-based society, the most productive economic unit you have is not a unit of coal or a unit of oil, gas. The most valuable natural resource we have is the genius of our children. Brain development happens, the majority of it, from the time in your womb to your first, second year. And we are a country right now that we have infant mortality rates that are as high as some developing nations. We are not investing in the well-being and the development of the brains of our children, and that's sinful.
What are you finding in terms of quality child care progress you've made in Vermont? Because you said that's one of the keys to dealing with this. And why are there lessons for New Jersey, for us and everyone else, and the nation?
7 out of 10 kids under 6 in Vermont have all available parents in the workforce. So this crucial, most crucial time in their development, where are they? They are not simply at home anymore. It's a change that we've seen in our society. And of that 70% of kids, only 50% have access to any regulated childcare. So here's the challenge. And 80% of our infants and toddlers, those that need it the most in Vermont, have no access to high quality childcare.
My advice to New Jersey is you recognize the value of your champions. And what you do is you identify who out there is really prepared to lead, and you support them. And you promote them, then you leverage the power of those champions, and then champions spread and build more champions. Both, it could be moms or grandparents, or it could be pediatricians or CEOs of businesses, and you want to support them, and they become your movement, and they lead the movement for you.
We're having a conversation about infants and toddlers, 0 to 3, if you will, an initiative we're doing called Right from the Start NJ. In terms of your department, what is the responsibility and role you have for protecting infants and toddlers?
From our perspective in the Department of Children and Families, we're really looking at how do we support parents in that they can give their kids 0 to 3 what they need. Some of that is ensuring that they have protective factors, that they send their kids to early intervention if necessary, that they get to the appropriate medical care, that kids are being seen regularly by pediatricians.
By 3 years old, 80% of the brain is developed. And as they were pointing out, first comes the sound, then the language, then the vocabulary. So when your children are born, they're constantly listening to everything. And there are studies like the Brain and Creativity Institute in Southern California did a study where children were exposed to music and accelerated their brain development in speech and sound and language and reading skills. And this is because the auditory sensory, that's where those are coming from.
All parents know, and most experts will tell you, that a child's development between the ages of 0 and 3 is paramount to their development over time. If we don't get them earlier, sooner, then they fall behind. They fall behind those children who have access to take care of child care and good teachers. So we're hoping that over time, particularly children and families who don't have the means and the wherewithal to afford child care.
An initiative we are doing is called Right from the Start NJ. The website will be put up as we speak, dealing with infants and toddlers and the need to take care of those children, and also moms, prenatal care, et cetera, et cetera. Are we doing enough?
No. We have places in the state of New Jersey where we have deserts, I like to call them, of childcare, and that's from 0 to 3.
Deserts of childcare.
Yes. And that's because we don't have enough of them. And the places that we do have that are very good, obviously for low-income moms, it's very hard to be able to send your child to a great...
Too expensive.
Yeah.
The longer-term effects or the long-term effects of some of these toxic stressors include?
Infants and young children that were exposed to toxic stress in those first years of life again tended to become adults who not only had increased emotional and mental health problems, as one would expect, but they also had increased incidence of physical problems, medical problems such as high blood pressure, hypertension, heart disease, diabetes, and even some forms of cancer.
And we're doing an initiative dealing with questions revolving the health issues impacting infants and toddlers. Does the state have a role, the Department of Health have a role in that?
One of the programs we have is called the Women, Infants, and Children program. We're
That's
trying to...
WIC?
WIC, yes.
Right.
And the entire idea behind that program is to provide supports, services, access to healthy food for vulnerable communities, folks that are not being reached through food deserts and different things that allow them to access healthy food. But also things like breastfeeding training, making sure we're supporting mothers, new mothers, in communities in the inner city that we're not able to get to with the traditional structure of the healthcare system.
We should be taking children from birth, educating children from birth. My daughter has Down syndrome, you know that. Well, we had early intervention when she was 5 weeks old. She was learning. A brain develops, 85% of your brain develops from birth to 5 years old. The earlier you get kids, the smarter, the better, the more adapted, the more adjusted they're going to be in life.